Mm. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Let me know your questions ahead of the next deadline. Please let me know if the sound is all right. Welcome to the stream, everyone. Let me know your questions ahead of the next deadline. My team is pretty set ahead of Game21. Really tempted to bring Bruno Fernandes in, but I don't really have an easy way to bring him in, so I will probably just save a transfer this game week. Like my midfield, to be honest. Cole Palmer against Bournemouth, SA playing against Leicester, Mo Salah, of course tough fixture, but it's Salah, and Gordon playing against Wolves at home. So not anyone in my midfield at the moment that I need to get rid of, and even though Bruno is tempting, I'm not willing to take a hit. Could potentially sell Kai Havertz to someone like Jimenez and upgrade Buonanotte to Bruno, but I think I'll just play this team in game week 21 and hope for the best. My captain is Alexander Isak at the moment. I've seen a lot of discussion about his fitness. The last we know from Eddie Howe is that he trained in Newcastle's last training session, so hopefully he was fine after the training, that he will start in game week 21. It's kind of the same situation with Joao Pedro as well. The plan was for him to train in Brighton's last training session ahead of game week 21 and their match. Charlie, hello. TFS, hello, Charlie. How are you? I'm good. Early wildcard bin hits. That's nice. Struggling on a few close decisions ahead of this game week or in general. Let me know if you have any close 50-50 calls or decisions. I can try to help out. Of course, ultimately it's your decision, but sometimes it helps to get another opinion as well. not that many decisions for me to make ahead of game week 21. Decided to not bring in Bruno, not taking a hit, so I will probably just save a transfer, and Kirkis will be benched for his fixture against Chelsea away, so definitely playing Cole Palmer. Buonanotte not started every game week, so he might actually be benched, so he will be on my bench as well. The same goes for Anderson. Even though he has a decent fixture against West Ham, I will play Lewis Hall, Gabriel because of his attacking threat, and of course Masraoui for Man United's good fixture against Southampton. So Charlie, yeah, got 8.2 for a striker position, which will be needed until game week 30 and hopefully play in 29. Jackson, Havertz, Cunha, the three I've been looking at. 8.2, have you considered Mateta? I actually like Mateta going forward. Crystal Palace really good fixtures, and you know that Mateta is on penalties. Glesner said that Mateta and SA will share penalties, but Mateta has actually taken the last 2 penalties for Crystal Palace. Scored in game with 20 as well. Will definitely start Crystal Palace game against Leicester, so if I needed a new forward, I would consider Mateta. You mentioned Cunha, he is back as well. I don't really like Wolves, especially for game week 21. They have a tough fixture, of course. Newcastle are in really good form at the moment. Playing at Stamford Bridge in game week 22 against Chelsea. Then they have a tough fixture in game week 23 against Arsenal. Aston Villa, game week 24. Liverpool in game week 25. Liverpool away, actually. So in game week 26, Wolves, they play against Bournemouth. Not the best fixture. Bournemouth may be a bit underrated when it comes to their defensive ability. So I don't really like Wolves fixtures for the next few game weeks, to be honest. So I would actually prefer Mateta. I've looked at Mateta, but have no free hit chip in game week 29. Ah, of course. I'm sorry you said that as well. So I think that Crystal Palace and Mateta actually will blank. As I've said, it's on the floating text at the bottom as well. I've looked at Mateta, but have no free hit. Actually, I think that Jackson is a decent option. I know that he hasn't scored for a month, but he probably will start scoring again. Okay fixtures for Chelsea, and will probably start most games. So I think that Jackson is a decent option. What I actually would have considered as well is the possibility to take a punt on Gakpo. We know that they will play twice in game week 24, so Gakpo could be a punt. And if you want to sell him, you can just bring in Cunha later. Of course, it requires 2 transfers, but it's probably worth it. So which 3 forwards do you have at the moment on my watch list ahead of GW21? I actually have Wood. I know he has a tough fixture, but he's nailed on and on penalties. Same goes for Jimenez. I was kind of surprised when Jimenez took 2 penalties while Andreas Pereira was on the pitch. So this kind of made Jimenez much more interesting option. So when we consider value, I definitely think that Jimenez is a decent transfer in at the moment. For 8 game weeks, I think I will hope for 4 goals from a forward in 8 game weeks, scoring in every other game. That's decent. Only Wood and Isak are consistent, so the rest of the options are just hit and miss. Yeah, so far this season it has been like that. So of course Wood, he has been consistent all season, even though his stats actually haven't been that great. Isak, kind of a slow start, but he of course has done really well recently, and he is aiming to set a new record actually for Newcastle in game week 21 by scoring in 8 consecutive game weeks. This is one of the reasons why my captaincy is still on Alexander Isak. I think that he'll probably start, and he really wants to set that record. My front 8 as of now is Cole Palmer, Salah, Bruno Fernandes, Gordon, and Murphy. Alexander Isak, Jackson, and Wood. Triple Newcastle attack is due to Barnes getting a 1-month injury. I definitely think that tripling up on Newcastle is a decent option. Only worry is that you don't have your free hit, of course, and I think that Newcastle will have a blank in game week 29 as well. You probably would want to triple up on Liverpool for their double game week in game week 24. So to field 11 players in game week 29, you will have to use some transfers on offloading your Newcastle and Liverpool players. But as mentioned, I think that they are really good options at the moment. So hopefully both Jacob Murphy and Alexander Isak are fit to play. Jacob Murphy, he missed out midweek as well in the cup, so hopefully it was just a precaution that he will start in game week 21. Jacob Murphy will also be switched to Semenyo if Bournemouth fixtures look good, which I think they do. Yeah, I think that Semenyo is a decent option still. Did not start up front. I'm actually a bit concerned when it comes to Bournemouth, because Evan Nilsson, he is out, and his deputy Enes Unal is injured as well. So I think that they probably will struggle to set their team for the next couple of game weeks. So I would probably wait with Semenyo, to be honest. No rush to bring in a Bournemouth attacker ahead of game week 21. I'm definitely starting Sanchez in my team ahead of Fabianski. I think that Chelsea have good chances of keeping a clean sheet against Bournemouth this game week. So hopefully Sanchez can can deliver. So considering you have no free hit, I would definitely stay away from Crystal Palace assets. You're completely right. You need some Newcastle assets, and as mentioned, you will want to have a couple of Liverpool players in double game week 24 as well. So if you want to field a team in game week 29, you probably have to stay away from Newcastle. I have a plan to replace Gordon with Mbumo, maybe in 25, who plays in 29. Yeah, and I think that with planning like this, you will probably not need a free hit. If you have a plan to take out the players with a blank, at least you can have maximum 3 players that blanks in game week 29. The reason why I will play my free hit in game week 29 is because those players who we are discussing at the moment is decent options like Gordon, Isak, Mo Salah, maybe a Liverpool defender, Mateta. Decent options going forward, and they will have a double game week 33. So that's the reason why I will play my free hit, so that I have a decent amount of doublers in game week 33 as well. Another dilemma I have is my defense starting this week. I have got Alisson, Fabianski, Munoz, Nico Williams, Konate, Mikolenko, and a 4.5 defender, which I haven't chosen yet. Okay, so I can see you have double Liverpool defense. I think that it's probably the way to go, to be honest, when we consider double game week 24. Liverpool have a lot of decent options, but we can just never know which of them will start, so doubling up on their defense is probably decent. You have Everton defender as well, Mikolenko. Munoz will blank in game week 29 probably. You have a Forest defender in. For that last 4.5 spot, I would probably bring in someone like Castani. Yesterday we got the news that Kenny Tete is out for, he was back in April, late March, April, so still a lot of game weeks to go for Kenny Tete. I definitely think that he is a decent option going forward. Right now I'm starting Alisson, Munoz, Mikolenko and Konate. 4.5 defender, which I go for. So you need a defender with decent fixtures, maximum 4.5, and a good fixture in game week 21 because you want to start him. I actually think that Castani, as mentioned, ticks all those boxes, to be honest. Castani, Villa defender, Van Hecke, all on my list. Which 3 start are Robinson, Hall, Rogers, Joe Pedro and Wood? I would definitely start Joe Pedro, decent fixture playing against Ipswich. I think that with Joe Pedro this game week he will either start or not play at all, so Joe Pedro is definitely one I would start this game week. Lewis Hall as well. So for me, it's between Robinson, and then you probably have to play four at the back, or Chris Wood. Robinson, I think that Fulham have a decent chance to keep a clean sheet against West Ham. West Ham, no real number 9 other than Danny Ings at the moment. Microphone is bugging. Not sure what happened. Hopefully the microphone is fine again. But to finish match day minutes, I would start Joe Pedro, Hall, and I think that GW21 is a decent game week to go against Chris Wood. High ownership, really tough fixture, so probably start Lewis Hall, Rogers, and Joao Pedro. When it comes to your defender, Charlie, I would probably aim to bring in Castan, to be honest. Fulham still have good fixtures. They have decent defensive stats as well, and Robinson, his ownership is starting to grow, so I think that having a Fulham defender could be really good going forward. Okay, thanks. It's really close though, match day minutes. You must have a really strong team having to bench decent players like Robinson and Chris Wood, but I think that with a team like this, then need to consider the fixtures, and when it comes to playing against Liverpool, that's probably as tough as it gets at the moment. So benching Chris Wood is of course a risk, but I would do it in this game week, I think. I'm going to head off. Thanks for the advice and have a good week. Thanks for joining in. Have a nice week and a good luck in game week 21. So hopefully the microphone is working as expected. Got a message that the microphone is bugging, but hopefully that sorted itself out. It's 1 hour and 25 minutes until the deadline. I'm still pretty set on captaining Alexander Isak for game week 21. I think that he will start. And out of my 3 captain contenders, Mo Salah, Cole Palmer, and Alexander Isak, I think that Newcastle have the best fixture this game week. So hopefully Alexander Isak can continue scoring goals. He's aiming to set a new club record for Newcastle by scoring in 8 consecutive game weeks. This is one of the reasons why I'm willing to risk captaining Isak. Let's head over to X to see if there are any news ahead of the deadline. My timeline is full of FPL managers locking in their game week 21 teams. See that a couple of others are going for Alexander Isak as well. Cole Palmer, not that many Salah captainers as we're used to see. The ones bringing in Bruno Fernandes looks like they're willing to take a punt on giving him the captain's armband as well. The ones with Haaland in their team are giving him the responsibility of this game week. If I had Haaland, I would probably captain him as well for game week 21. When it comes to Liverpool and Mo Salah, they actually have one of the toughest fixtures when we consider Nottingham Forest form recently, so I think that game week 21 is a really good game week to go against Mo Salah when we discuss the captaincy. Haaland is actually the bookie's favorites for anytime goal scorer. 58% chance of a Haaland goal according to the bookies. So decent odds for Haaland. Alexander Isak, he is second on this list for his fixture against Wolves. 55%, while Cole Palmer is next in line with 48%. So actually this game week Salah is not included in the top 3. I think that when I had a look at the list, he was close to Cole Palmer, though. He was maybe 4th or 5th in the list. Not that far behind Cole Palmer for his fixture against Bournemouth. So last night when I had my Q&A stream, the top 3 for most transfers in this game week was actually 3 Newcastle players: Anthony Gordon, Lewis Hall, and Alexander Isak. But overnight and during today, Jimenez, he has actually overtaken Isak when it comes to transfers in. So Gordon is still on top. Lewis Hall and Raul Jimenez is the 3rd most transferred in player ahead of game week 21. The most transferred out players ahead of this game week is Gabriel Jesus. Got injured. Probably makes sense to sell Gabriel Jesus at the moment. Jackson is 2nd and Luis Diaz is the 3rd most transferred out player ahead of the next game week. So in the comments, someone mentioned that the microphone was bugging. Hopefully, the microphone is fine. Let me know how the sound is at the moment. So let me know if the microphone is working as it should, and of course let me know if you have any questions, dilemmas, or 50-50 decisions ahead of the next deadline. The deadline is 1 hour and 17 minutes away, so still time to make decisions considering transfers and captaincy. I don't think that I will make any transfers this game week. I still have the captaincy on Alexander Isak. I think that he will start. I think that Newcastle will do well against Wolves. Even though Wolves actually have improved a bit recently, but Salah is the favorite in the captain poll. 67% almost Salah. Palmer is actually second, and no votes for Alexander Isak just yet. That's interesting. I think that when it comes to captaincy, this game week is really, really interesting, especially after taking a quick look over at X and my timeline. You can see that there are a big diversity when it comes to captaincy. Cole Palmer, Mo Salah, Isak. You can see some with Bruno Fernandes as well. SA captain, actually. I'm not willing to take a punt on captaining SA, even though I own him and I like his fixture. But if SA was nailed on to take penalties for Crystal Palace, I would probably consider him for captaincy. But at the moment, I'm leaning towards Alexander Isak. Go and vote in the captain poll. Salah, he is still leading with 62%. Isak, he has to vote now 12% for Alexander Isak, and Cole Palmer with 25. So the captain poll is not really reflecting what I'm seeing on X at the moment. Looks like there are more FPL managers going for differentials rather than Mo Salah this game week, with Alexander Isak being the most popular, I guess. Bruno Fernandes as well. A lot of transfers in for him ahead of this game week. It looks so good. That fixture, Southampton at home. So many routes to points for Bruno Fernandes. He is on most set pieces, including penalties for Man United. It's actually starting to look a bit better. Problem with Man United is that they can do really well, like they have done in the last couple of games, including their game against Arsenal, but then they can all of a sudden lose the next four games. Double game week 24 is confirmed, so Liverpool and Everton will play twice in game week 24. Liverpool, they will play 2 away games, one of them being away against Bournemouth, the other one against Everton, while Everton will play against Leicester at home and then Liverpool at home. My plan at the moment is to try to bring in a couple of Liverpool players ahead of double game week 24. Not yet decided which players I will transfer in. After taking a look at the fixture list, I will probably wait until game week 23. Liverpool have a good fixture in game week 23, playing home against Ipswich. But in game week 22, they are playing away against Bournemouth. So not the best fixture for Liverpool, so I'll probably wait until game week 23 to bring in my other Liverpool assets. Kieran Campbell, hello. Why not Palmer captain? Good question. It's really close. The thing is that I have been on Alexander Isak all week. I'm tempted by Cole Palmer as well. Bournemouth, they have slightly better defensive stats compared to Wolves. I'm actually starting to reconsider the Isak captain pick, to be honest. We know that Cole Palmer is nailed on penalties. He's a midfielder, so he gets 1 extra point for each goal. He can also get 1 extra point for clean sheets. Why not Cole Palmer? That's really a good question, to be honest. At least I'm sure that I will not captain Mo Salah. I will take a punt and go against him. You can see on my timeline over at X, there are still a lot of Salah captainers, but there's a lot of Alexander Isak, Bruno Fernandes, Cole Palmer as well. So Why not Palmer captain? Because I have had a feeling that Alexander Isak will start, and he is aiming to be the first player in Newcastle to score in 8 consecutive game weeks. The thing is that he has only had 1 training session, right? We're not really sure how he felt after that training session. So I admit that there is a bit of risk involved in giving the armband to Alexander Isak, so I might actually be tempted to switch it the other way around and give the captain's armband to Cole Palmer. 1 hour and 7 minutes left to make a decision on the captaincy. Start Rodgers or Joe Pedro? I would start Joe Pedro. I think that he will either start or not play at all. I think that he will start, to be honest. We know that he participated in the last training session as well. So the situation with Joao Pedro is really similar to Alexander Isak. They both had a week off, but they have attended the last training session ahead of their games in game week 21. So Joao Pedro, I would start him and have Rodgers as my first bench option. I think Rodgers is a decent option as well, but when we consider the fixtures, playing at Goodison Park against Everton is not the easiest fixture at the moment, so I know that Everton have parted ways with Sean Dyche and appointed Leighton Baines, but can't really see them collapse when it comes to their defensive ability that quick. So I think that Everton will be decent defensively going forward as well. I think the reason why they sacked Sean Dyche is the fact that their attacking play has been really, really bad. No goals from open play was in the last 6 or 7 game weeks, something like that. I think the only goal scored in the last 6 game weeks is when they played 1-1 against Man City. Let's have a quick look. Lost 1-0 to Bournemouth in game week 20. Lost 2-0 to Nottingham Forest in game week 19. There it is, game week 18. Man City, Everton 1-1. So yeah, Jason, I would start Joao Pedro with Rodgers' first bench. Really close in the captain poll, got a couple of new votes. Salah, he is still leading with 50%, but Palmer is on 30 and Alexander Isak 20. Salah will probably not be my captain. I think that the fixture against Nottingham Forest is as tough as it gets at the moment, considering their defensive form. I have been on Alexander Isak all week, but I'm starting to lean a bit towards Cole Palmer. I think it's the last time I captained Cole Palmer, it went horribly bad. I think it was in game week 19. Yeah, game week 19 when Chelsea on paper had a really good fixture against Ipswich, but Ipswich won 2-0, while Liverpool, they destroyed West Ham away and won 5-0. Salah picked up 16 points, something like that, and so many captained Salah for that fixture, which of course made it 32 points, while I got 4 points from my captain Cole Palmer. Thanks, it's scary not to captain Salah. Yeah, I just mentioned that in game week 19 I went against Mo Salah. I captained Cole Palmer for Chelsea's loss against Ipswich. So yeah, my rank actually took a hit that game week. So there is a risk involved going against the most selected player. I actually think that Mo Salah probably will be one of the most captain players in game week 21 as well. Flecken or Cells, ooh, not the best fixture for either of them, of course. Cells playing against Liverpool, Flecken against Man City. When we consider the fixture, I think that Brentford, they have been decent at home, of course, and Man City, their form has been up and down. So on paper, Flecken probably is the better option, but when we consider Nottingham Forest and their defensive form recently, they have been really good, 4 clean sheets in the last 4 game weeks. So of course Cells is a decent option as well, but in game week 21 they are up against Liverpool, so I'm not really expecting a clean sheet. Really tough decision. When it comes to those two goalkeepers, then Cells is definitely the one in the best form, and his confidence must be on an all-time high. So I will probably take a punt on Cells. I think that he will have a lot of saves. So even though Nottingham Forest don't keep a clean sheet against Liverpool, I think that he definitely will get some save points. So yeah, Cells would probably be my option. By going Cells, you at the same time you cover the Nottingham Forest defense, which has slowly gained a lot of new owners. I have many Liverpool players and no City ones. If you have 2 attacking Liverpool assets, I would be tempted to play Flecken if you have more attacking Liverpool assets than Mo Salah. Maybe even if you have Trent. I wouldn't want Trent and Mo Salah if you have Luis Diaz as well. I wouldn't actually want them to play against my goalkeeper. I always try to avoid having my attacking players play against my defenders. I think that you're probably in a bit of. I think that this situation is. I think it's really hard, to be honest. Flecken or Cells, really easy to give wrong advice on this one, because if one of them gets a clean sheet, it will probably be a 12 pointer, a lot of save points and bonus points as well. So I think Cells is a really good option. Playing at home against Liverpool, he's good for save points, really good personal form format Cells. But if you have other attacking Liverpool assets other than Mo Salah, you have the likes of Luis Diaz and Trent. You say many Liverpool players. I guess that's a triple up. Then I would probably be tempted to play Flecken, when we also consider that you have no Man City options. I think that I will actually change my captain from Alexander Isak to Cole Palmer. Hopefully this will not be like game week 19. I just talked about my captain punt on Cole Palmer in game week 19 when Chelsea played against Ipswich. Chelsea, they were so disappointing in game week 19, lost 2-0 against Ipswich. Cole Palmer blanked, while Mo Salah, on the other hand, I think he scored 2 goals and had 1 assist against West Ham. 16 points for Mo Salah. Of course, he was the most captain player as well that game week. Close to 200% effective ownership, so not the best game week for me, but I'm willing to take a punt. At the moment, I just changed my captaincy from Alexander Isak to Cole Palmer. Do you start Wood or Joao Pedro? The thing is, with Joao Pedro, I think that he probably will start or not play at all. So he attended the last training session for Brighton. So I think that if he was fine after that training session, he probably will start. He has been Brighton's best and most creative player ever since he got back from his last injury. So I think that Joao Pedro probably will start, and if he is not starting, I'd say there is a big chance that he will not play at all, that he will be fully rested and ready for game week 22. Chris Wood, of course, you know what you'll get. He'll probably start. He's on penalties for Nottingham Forest, so there is a bit of risk involved. Benching Chris Wood as well, but I think that considering the fixtures, that Joao Pedro should be the one who starts. Especially since you're also saying that you have many Liverpool players. Probably you have a Liverpool defender, so bench increase would make sense in that case. $12 new subscribers since my last deadline stream. Good numbers. 2,710 subscribers at the moment. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you're interested, go check out the link in the description to the new mini league. So I made a mistake last game week. I made a head-to-head league, but not sure how I managed to do it, but I forgot to click the box that says keep open for new entries. So it's not possible to join the head-to-head league I started ahead of game week 20, so I made a new one. It's a classic mini league. The scoring will start from game week 22 and until the end of the season. So click the link in the description and join the new classic mini league. Salah still leading the captain poll, 58. Palmer 25. Alexander Isak 17. So a clear lead for Mo Salah in the captain poll. Thanks, good analysis. I have one more doubt. Start Anthony Robinson or Cucurella. So both of them could potentially deliver attacking returns. Robinson, the player with the highest expected goal involvement out of the two, but playing away against West Ham, Chelsea have a home fixture against Bournemouth. Usually, and under normal circumstances, I would probably prefer Robinson, but considering Bournemouth injury problems, especially up front with Evan Nilsson being out and his deputy Enes Unal as well, I would probably be tempted to play Cucurella. Just want to check Cucurella's ownership as well. 6.9. So yeah, for game week 21, I would take a punt and play Mark Cucurella ahead of Robinson, even though there is, of course, a slight risk involved in benching Robinson as well. High ownership. I mentioned Bournemouth struggles when it comes to injuries up front, but it's not like West Ham don't have any injury problems. Charles Bowen is injured. Antonio, the car accident, and Fulkrug as well. Just think that in a close call like that, I would probably back the home fixture, and when we consider their ownership as well, I like Cucurella as a differential. So I have the option to bench Sanchez and play Fabianski, but I've not really considered playing Fabianski in game week 21, to be honest. So Sanchez, he will start. I like my defense this game week. Lewis Hall, good fixture at home against Wolves. Gabriel, not the best fixture, especially when we consider clean sheets, because Spurs, they have really, really good attacking stats. But on the other hand, they have really, really bad attacking stats on set pieces as well. So hopefully Gabriel can get something from that match. And of course, Masraoui started to play more attacking the last 3 game weeks, and probably the best fixture of the season as well, playing at home against Southampton. So decent defense for me this game week. And Cole Palmer, my new captain in midfield. SA, good fixture against Leicester. Mo Salah, not a fan of the fixture, so he will not be my captain, but of course he will start. And the same goes for Anthony Gordon, playing against Wolves. 2 injuries for me up front, Alexander Isak and Joao Pedro. Hopefully both will be fine and start in game week 21. Havertz, he actually missed game week 19 and 20 due to illness, but he has played midweek for Arsenal, so he is fit. He missed so many chances against Man United. I think Arteta probably is a bit concerned over some of those misses, but with Gabriel Jesus being out as well, I'm feeling quite confident that Kai Havertz will start up front for Arsenal in game week 21. With that said, ahead of game week 20, I was feeling confident about Havertz as well, but he missed out completely, even though Arteta said that he was fine. So I've actually seen some talk over at X about bringing Kai Havertz in. I'm not sure that I would advise you to bring Kai Havertz in at the moment, but he's definitely a keep if you already have him. But I would look at other potential candidates up front to replace Gabriel Jesus. My favorite would probably be Mateta, especially if you're going to use your free hit in game week 29. Crystal Palace, they will probably blank in game week 29, so it's time to start considering the blank game week when we make our transfers going forward. Especially seeing that Liverpool have a double game week in game week 24, so we would want to probably triple up on Liverpool assets ahead of double game week 24. But Liverpool, they are also one of the teams that probably will blank. So when we consider Newcastle's good form, another team that probably will blank in game week 29, there will be a lot of players that needs to be sold ahead of that blank game week. So that's the reason why I will probably play my free hits in the first blank of the season. So if you're interested, I've actually made a video on the blanks and the doubles, including a chip strategy as well. It's linked in the description, so go check that out if you're interested. Which from Matthias, which Everton players, if you would, which Everton players? I'm sorry, which player Everton players, if any, would you get for game week 24? So when it comes to Everton, my priority will be to aim to get a triple up on Liverpool assets, but if I were to decide any Everton players, my favorites would be a defender. So I actually like Ashley Young as a punt. Mikolenko is probably a bit safer, and I also like Pickford. So those three would be my Everton picks ahead of double game week 24. They have 2 home games, so they might actually get a clean sheet. And when it comes to the last fixture against Liverpool, I can't really see Everton keep a clean sheet against them, considering Liverpool's form at the moment. But we saw in the cup, Liverpool, they failed to score against Spurs. So everything can happen, of course. It's a derby as well. I only have 1 free transfer, but if I had a spare free transfer, I would probably try to get an Everton defender. And Ashley Young, Mikolenko, or Pickford would be my preferred options. If you want an attacker, NDI would probably be my pick at the moment. He's nailed on and on set pieces. Can't really see Calvert-Lewin doing well, even though he has 2 fixtures. I actually started the season with Calvert-Lewin. He had a couple of game weeks where he did reasonably well, but I can't really see Calvert-Lewin being a good option, even though they have a double, as mentioned. So if you have the spare transfers to bring in an Everton player, my preferred option would be one of their defenders. We'll make a video ahead of game week 22. In this video, I will focus on Liverpool. Which players should we target from Liverpool? Of course, Mo Salah, he is in most teams at the moment. Trent is probably the best defender, but really expensive. Van Dijk nailed on. His price has gone up to 6.4 as well. I think that the injury to Joe Gomez probably makes Konate a decent option. It's only priced at 5.1, so if we have a little bit in the bank, we can upgrade a 4.5 defender to Konate ahead of game week 24. I would probably wait until game week 23. Liverpool, they have a bit of a tough fixture against Brentford away in game week 22, so I will probably wait another game week to bring in Liverpool assets. And in game week 23, Liverpool have a home game against Ipswich before a double game week in 24. So planning to have a triple up on Liverpool from game week 23 is probably a solid plan. The thing is with Liverpool's attackers, it's really hard to tell who will start and who will be benched. So if you go for Luis Diaz, if he blanks in the first game in game week 24 and he comes off the bench in the second game against Everton for a 1-pointer, that would be really, really disappointing. How do you plan to handle all the blanks in game week 34 using free hits in game week 29? So my plan at the moment is to keep my Newcastle and Liverpool players re-hit in game week 29 as mentioned, and then have them ready for game week 33. So I will not need to make that many transfers to bring in doublers for game week 33 because I already have them in my team. So unless there are any injuries, my team will be pretty set for game week 33. So I can then start to focus using my free transfers to bring in players who has a game in game week 34, excuse me. So of course we're not yet sure which teams will have a blank in game week 34, but if I can't field a strong team in game week 34 by using my free transfers, I'll probably wildcard in game week 34 instead of game week 35. And with my wildcard, I will then aim to have a decent team for the blank in 34. And at the same time, have a strong team with double game week players for my bench boosts in double game week 36. So we'll have at least 4 free transfers from game week 39 until game week 34. So really hoping that it's possible for me to field a strong team in game week 34 without using my wildcard. But I know there will be a lot of blanks in game week 34. 8 teams will have a blank, so only 12 teams will have a fixture. As mentioned, too early to tell which teams will blank. Still need to see how the 5th round and the quarterfinals pans out. But yeah, as mentioned, hopefully I can field a strong team by using at least 4 free transfers. So my plan is to activate the assistant managership in game week 31. So it will be active for game week 31, 32, and double game week 33. Hopefully use my free transfers to field a strong team in the blank in 34. Wildcard in game week 35. Bring in 15 players with a double game week possibly. And then bench boost in double game week 36. Jimbo the Daddy, Captain Bruno. If I own Bruno, I would strongly consider captaining Bruno this game week. I really like his form and the fixture against Southampton at home. So I can't really get to Bruno Fernandes without taking a hit. I could sell Kai Havertz and Buonanotte to bring in someone like Jimenez and Bruno Fernandes, but with only free transfer, I will just save. I think transfers will be really valuable going forward, especially considering Liverpool will have a double game week soon. So I will not have Bruno Fernandes, but if I did, I would probably captain him. Mbumo versus Wood. I would start Mbumo in game week 21. I know that Man City, they are starting to find a bit of form again, but they have not been that strong defensively, so I would start Mbumo. Wood first bench. Dubravka or Martinez? Definitely Dubravka. Home fixture as well, better defensive stats and a better fixture. Did you triple captain already, or are you planning it for game week 24? I have not used my triple captain, so my plan at the moment is to use the triple captainship in game week 24. It will probably be no surprise, Mo Salah for me. Josh, hi. Do you know any news about Cunha? Last thing I read about Cunha yesterday was that he will play. Not seen any rumors about Cunha not being ready to start in game week 21, so a quick look over at X just to be sure. Not seeing anything concrete when it comes to Cunha not being able to play, so I guess that he is fine and will probably start in game week 21. The thing is, when it comes to Cunha, I don't really like his fixture though for game week 21. Newcastle, they have been really, really good recently, so I think that playing away against Newcastle actually is one of the toughest fixtures at the moment, so I would not bring Cunha in, but if I had him, I would probably just start him. Who is better to start, Mbumo or Anderson? You're thinking about the Fulham centre back, right? Yeah, Anderson. I would definitely start Mbumo, even though on paper the fixture doesn't look that great playing against Man City, but those fixtures are Brentford, they tend to get something from those fixtures, and Man City, they have started to pick up a bit of form. Haaland started to score some goals again, but their defense have not been convincing, so I think the Man City probably will win against Brentford, but it might very well be 2-4, something like that. I think Brentford probably will score, and if they do, Mbumo has a big chance to be involved. He's on set pieces, we know that he is on penalties, he's nailed on to start, probably play 90 minutes, so I would definitely start Mbumo over Anderson. 25 minutes left until the deadline. 20 minutes ago, I changed my captaincy from Alexander Isak to Cole Palmer. In the captain poll, Mo Salah, he is leading with 45%. Cole Palmer is really close at the moment, 35 for Cole Palmer, while Alexander Isak is on 20. I would be a bit annoyed if Isak holds in game week 29. I've had the captaincy on Alexander Isak all week. As mentioned, just changed from Alexander Isak to Cole Palmer 20 minutes ago, but it's mostly due to the concern over Alexander Isak's fitness. I think that he will start, but at the same time, I think that he probably will get his minutes a bit managed. He only had one training session ahead of this game week since last game week, so if Newcastle are leading comfortably, he will probably be taken off around 60-70 minutes mark, especially if he has one goal to his name like we saw in game week 20. Same thing happened actually. Would you start Mbumo over Rodgers? I actually would prefer Mbumo playing at home against Man City rather than Rodgers playing at Goodison. I think that it's probably still a tough fixture playing at Goodison against Everton. I know that Sean Dyche is gone, but I think Everton will continue to deliver solid defensive performances. So yeah, Mbumo would be my preferred option for game week 21. I will probably just save a transfer. Have the option to sell Kai Havertz and Buonanotte to bring in Bruno Fernandes. So Havertz to Jimenez, Buonanotte to Bruno Fernandes. It would be for a -4. I only have one free transfer, and I definitely think that free transfers will be really valuable going forward, especially considering Liverpool having a double game week in game week 24. So I will probably just save. Jess, do you think about Gordon captaincy this game week? I think that Gordon could be a decent captain option. He is nailed on. He will probably play 90 minutes. We know that Barnes is injured, out for 1 month, so Gordon is probably a 90 minutes man at the moment. I just mentioned that Alexander Isak probably will have his minutes managed due to his recent injury, so Gordon is on penalties when Isak is not on the pitch, so he has that route to goals as well, especially if Isak gets an early sub. So I think that Gordon is actually a decent punt, but I would prefer the likes of Cole Palmer ahead of him, to be honest. But I don't hate the thought about captaining Anthony Gordon for game week 21. Are you currently on Gordon, Jess, with your captaincy ahead of this game week? We also know that Gordon is on set pieces, right? Corners and free kicks as well, so yeah. I also like the fact that Gordon is playing on Wednesday. I like having my captain play a bit later on in the game week to keep the hopes up. Chelsea are playing tonight, of course. Bournemouth, first game of the game week. So if Cole Palmer blanks, it will be a big disappointment, of course, but I think that the Palmer captaincy is pretty much locked in for me at this point. 18 minutes left until the deadline. Still time to consider transfers and decide on the captaincy. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, 50-50 decisions or dilemmas ahead of the next game week. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content and join the new classic mini league as well. Last game week I actually made a head-to-head mini league, but I managed to press close for entries, so I got a couple of messages from managers wanting to join the head-to-head league, but it was not possible, so I had to make a new classic mini league. It will run from game week 22 all the way until game week 38, so 16 game weeks mini league starting from game week 22. So link is in the description. $12 new subscribers since my last deadline stream. Thanks for subscribing. 2,710 subscribers so far, and if you're subscribed, thanks again. Yeah, currently I put the armband on Gordon, but afraid he won't play more than 60 minutes. Might change to Palmer on last minute. So I have been on Alexander Isak since game week 20. Actually, like 30 minutes ago, I changed to Cole Palmer. I think probably Gordon is a bit more safe when it comes to expected minutes this game week. The one that usually gets a late sub on for Gordon is Barnes, but he is injured, so I think Gordon is pretty safe when it comes to minutes this game week and the next couple of game weeks at least. Semenyo, Rogerio Morai thinking of selling Kulusevski for Gordon and Watkins for Jimenez. What do you think? I think that those moves make sense. Kulusevski, not my favorite fantasy option. Of course, he's ticking along nicely, but I don't really fancy Kulusevski for the next few game weeks, while Anthony Gordon, I just talked about the injury to Barnes as well. Newcastle, really good form. And decent fixtures for Newcastle coming up, so bringing in Anthony Gordon makes sense. Watkins, he was a really good transfer in for those who took the punt in game week 19, but the run will come back and they will share minutes, so selling Watkins at the moment makes sense as well. So Kulusevski and Watkins to Gordon and Jimenez? I'd say yes, especially considering that Jimenez is on penalties for Fulham. We all thought that Andreas Pereira would take their penalties. He actually has taken a couple of penalties this season so far, but in game week, it was last game week, wasn't it? Or game week 19, he took 2 penalties and scored both while Andreas Pereira was on the pitch. So Jimenez is probably on penalties for Fulham as well. So a decent transfer in. Semenyo to SA Sar Gordon already missed the price change, still got the money to do it or roll and play Rodgers. I would probably want Gordon in my team, to be honest. So Semenyo Gordon would be my preferred option. It's not like a big problem to play Rodgers in game week 21, even though I think that the fixture against Everton probably is a bit tougher than it looks on paper. Traveling to Goodison, even though Sean Dyche is gone, it's not the easiest game of the season. So Semenyo to Gordon, or just save the transfer and play Rodgers. Thanks for the response. No worries. Okay, but would you go Jimenez or Solanke? Still have money in the bank. I would probably go Jimenez due to the fact that he is on penalties. I don't really hate Solanke, but considering Spurs fixtures, they are a really good attacking side, but they have actually tough fixtures from an attacking point of view. They have to travel to Goodison. I just talked about this as a really tough game. In game week 22, Everton, they play against Spurs. Spurs, good fixture in game week 23, playing at home against Leicester, but in game week 24, they have a tough fixture playing against Brentford away. So my preferred option would probably be Jimenez, and you'll have more money in the bank as well. So yeah. 11 minutes and 50 seconds. We're getting really close to the deadline. Captaincy is still on Cole Palmer. Jed, thanks for joining in, mate. Just a quick question. Would you play Kirky's Chelsea or bench him for Solanke? I would probably bench Kirky's in game week 21, especially if you have Cole Palmer. And then I would play Solanke. I own Kirky's as well, but in game week 21, he will be last on my bench. Feels kind of wrong not trusting Kirkis. He was my star player in game week 20. He picked up 12 points in game week 20. So thanks, Kirkis. But in game week 21, you will be benched. I think that you should bench him as well and play Solanke. Of course, not the best fixture for Solanke playing against Arsenal, but as we've seen recently, Arsenal have failed to keep many clean sheets, and if Spurs gets a goal, then Solanke is likely to be involved. 10 minutes until the deadline. Quick look over at X to see if there are any news. Jed, thanks for tagging me in all those news that you find over at X during the day while I'm at my day job. Keeps me updated, really appreciate it. No news on Cunha. So no big news from what I can find over at X. Just a lot of managers locking in their teams. I can see a lot of Cole Palmer captains at the moment. FPL Magnaldo, FPL River as well. FPL Camper. The ones who have Bruno Fernandes or have transferred Bruno Fernandes in ahead of game week 21 probably will want to captain him, so I can see a lot of Bruno Fernandes captainers as well. Hi mate, would you start Pedro or Wood? I would start Joe Pedro in game week 21. I think that he'll either start or not play at all, so I definitely fancy Brighton and Joe Pedro's fixture in game week 21, so he would be the one starting if I owned both of them. Don't hate Chris Wood for game week 21. We know that he is nailed on for Nottingham Forest and that he is on penalties, so not the worst option, but I prefer Joe Pedro. He is on penalties as well, and if he starts, he has the best goal scoring odds, and if he is not starting, I think that he will miss out. Thanks. No worries. Hopefully this is the right decision. You're not the first asking these questions. I think that Joe Pedro Wood is a 50-50 decision for a lot of managers ahead of game week 21. Bryce, greetings, brother. Welcome. Start 3, Gabriel, Robinson, Hall, or Konate. I would definitely start Lewis Hall in game week 21 playing against Wolves. Gabriel as well for his attacking threats. I don't really expect Arsenal to keep a clean sheet, but the Arsenal defense is so highly owned, and Gabriel, he is so attacking when Arsenal get set pieces. So I would start Gabriel and Lewis Hall. Close call between Robinson and Konate. I think I probably would start Robinson for his attacking threat as well. Konate first bench. Five minutes left. Time to make the last decisions and lock in the team. Mash Alwyn, who should I bench? Munoz or Hall? I would I like them both actually for game week 21. Munoz, one of the most attacking defenders, but I would still be tempted to play Lewis Hall, so yeah, I would start Lewis Hall and bench Munoz. No Bryce, no Mbumo. I'm afraid I have no Mbumo. Was so close to bring him in ahead of last game week. But I went Anthony Gordon and he scored as well, so hopefully Gordon can match Mbumo going forward. Really frustrating, and I thought about our conversation when Mbumo did so well that game week. Kind of frustrating, but yeah. Charis Simamba, Timber, my only Arsenal defender, to Lewis Hall, have Van Dijk and Robinson. I would definitely prefer having Lewis Hall at the moment rather than Timber. So yeah, decent transfer that. Selling Timber to bring in Lewis Hall. Good fixture for Newcastle. Really good form for Newcastle as a whole. So when we consider that Lewis Hall is one of the most attacking defenders as well, that makes sense. I really like the Van Dijk pick. I started the season with Van Dijk, owned him all the way until game week 12, and I would actually like to have Van Dijk for Liverpool's double game week 24. We'll make a video on Liverpool assets ahead of game week 22, so this will be the focus on my next team selection video. Both their defenders and their attacking options as well. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you don't miss out on that video. Actually also have made a video about the doubles and the blanks for the rest of the season, including a chip strategy. It's linked in the description, so go watch that one as well if you're interested. Is it worth captaining Haaland? Definitely. I think that this game week is a really good game week to go against Mo Salah. Tough fixture for Liverpool, playing against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, one of the best defensive teams recently, kept 4 clean sheets in the last 4 game weeks. So I would like to go against Mo Salah, and Haaland is actually a really tempting option. So if I owned Haaland, he would probably be my captain. So for my team, no transfers made. I only have 1 free transfer. I've been considering selling Havertz and Buonanotte to bring in Bruno Fernandes and Jimenez, but since I only have 1 free transfer, I will just save. If I brought in Bruno Fernandes, I would probably captain him in game week 21 for Man United's fixture against Southampton. My captain has actually been Alexander Isak all week. I changed this 45 minutes ago to Cole Palmer, so Cole Palmer will be my game week 21 captain. Last time I took a punt on Cole Palmer was in game week 19. I fancied Chelsea for their game against Ipswich, but Ipswich, they won 2-0. Cole Palmer got 2 points, while Mo Salah, he hauled against West Ham with 16 points. So that was not ideal, and hopefully this will not repeat itself in game week 21. So there will probably be a lot of different captains in game week 21. I've seen, of course, some with Mo Salah, Isak, and Cole Palmer, a lot of Bruno Fernandes as well. Actually seen a couple of Essay and Gordon punts as well. So this will hopefully be a really fun game week. Deadline has actually passed. No more time to make transfers. Hopefully all of you got your transfers in if you had any late changes. My team will be the team that's on the screen at the moment. Anderson, Buonanotte and Kirk is benched. Fabianski on the bench as well, starting Sanchez for game week 21. Hopefully Chelsea can keep a clean sheet against a Bournemouth with a lot of injuries, especially up front. Evan Nilsson is injured, and the same goes for his replacement, Enes Unal. So hopefully Chelsea can put up a solid defensive performance. Bryce Fernandes is my captain. Seeing you say that actually makes me regret that I did not sell Havertz and Buonanotte to bring in Jimenez and Bruno. But Bruno, he will definitely haul. Hopefully Masraoui can assist Bruno Fernandes in a couple of his goals in the Bruno hat-trick against Southampton. If you haven't done so already, please go and join the new mini league. So I had to make a new mini league. I have already a mini league head-to-head league running, but I managed to press the button close for new entries. So I got a couple of messages from managers saying that it didn't work. So I've created a new classic mini league that will run from game week 22 until the end of the season. So link is in the description. Go ahead and join if you're interested. Be right back. Weekday football is different. Yeah, actually like when the deadline is midweek. Some interesting games today as well, especially there will be a lot of interests for those who captain Cole Palmer. Chelsea playing against Bournemouth will probably be the game that I will follow the most. And of course, Nottingham Forest, Liverpool as well. So actually really good games this evening. Man City playing as well against Brentford, Chelsea against Bournemouth, West Ham, Fulham. A lot of interest from an FPL point of view in this match as well. And of course, as mentioned, Nottingham Forest against Liverpool. So hopefully the story from game week 19 where I captain Cole Palmer will not repeat itself. So Alexander Isak to play a full 90 minutes. So this was my concern and the reason actually why I changed my captaincy from Isak to Cole Palmer. The injury concerns when it comes to Isak. I think that he'll probably start. Pretty confident he will start. But I think at the same time that if Newcastle have a comfortable lead, he will probably have his minutes managed. So that's not what we want from our captains. So I still think that Alexander Isak will start and that he will get 1 goal against Wolves. But my concern is that he will be subbed off early, like we saw in game week 20. So 60, 70 minutes is probably what we can expect from Alexander Isak in game week 21. And that's the reason why I took the captaincy away from Isak and captain Cole Palmer. Thanks to all for joining in. Really enjoyed this one. So best of luck for game week 21. Go, as mentioned, and join the mini league if you're interested. The link is in the description. The next deadline is on Saturday, so I will have a Q&A Friday night. Please come join that one as well. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, if you enjoy those streams. So best of luck for game week 21 and see you next time.